Hey, it's Lowery Smith of the CommanderSmiths here with Searching for the Spotlight, Raffine, Scheming Seer. I plan on making as many cuts as possible. I should have probably counted, but there's a lot of card choices tonight. Um, and so we're just gonna go through a bunch of cards and then I'll cut as we go, and then you'll kind of start seeing the ideas. What I want to do is, there's a bunch of unblockable creatures or flying. Some of them get bonuses for drawing cards, discarding cards, putting counters on them, and we're just probably going to boil it down. Probably won't finish it tonight, but into a feasible deck, right? And sorry, I got a little bit of a bubble. We'll see if I can get rid of that here. I was I was not late, Mr. Hockey. I was I was on time. It was 9 o'clock. I think your clock is early. Um, so what do we got? Okay, so Commander Smiths is a podcast that comes out every Wednesday. We do multiple different ways of video. So something like we have shorts about just random cards. Adam, my co-host and cousin, does proxies on Sunday nights. If you want to check that out, last week he did Smuggler's Share, turned it into you know Guardians of the Galaxy raccoon guy, blanking on his name. Rocket Raccoon. There we go. Or Rabbit, according to Thor. But and we try and do, building deck videos. Adam just finished up an Akiri and Kodama and just added a bunch of treasures and should be really cool. You can go check that out as well. Oh, hello boobies. Thank you, Stephen, for joining. Um and remember to hit that like. That helps us out a ton. If you're new to us, subscribe. We try and do something, 5, 6 days a week, probably five, probably more like 4 or 5, whatever. We plan on doing a live podcast starting next Monday, which would be a day that I don't even know what day it is right now. 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17th? Question mark? Does that sound right? Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, 4 days. 16th. 16th. Monday the 16th. All right. What else do we do? We do some stuff. We also have a Patreon. You can go and hang out. If just $1 gets you into the Discord. We give out proxies monthly to anybody that's $5 or above. We're going to start having play mats that you can choose from. Not this one specifically, a little bit different. What else is there? I'm supposed to sell us or something. I don't know. Let's get into this, right? All right. So Raffine, Scheming Seer. It is a white, blue, black 1/4 Sphinx Demon flying. Word 1. Whenever you attack, target attacking creature connives X, where X is the number of attacking creatures. Target attacking creature. So conniving is drawing X cards, then discarding X cards, so the same amount. Put a 1/1 counter on that creature for each non-land card discarded this way. It's going to be, I think, going to be really powerful. You're going to want to be going wide. I think we'll see how that goes. But if you attack with 5 creatures, you get to draw 5 cards, discard 5 cards, maybe put 1 to 4 counters, 1 to 5 counters on a creature that's attacking. And if it's unblockable, that's nice. If it has protection, that's better. So Raffine seems pretty powerful. I've seen cards moving on it, just because of Raffine. Raffine is going up. And so hopefully you bought your cards and you didn't wait. Let's start getting into the deck. So I think this first batch, let's move some of this out, is going to be cards that get a bonus for drawing cards. So Wizard class is a class from D&D set last year, but really what you want to get to is whenever you draw a card, put a 1/1 counter on target creature you control, but also it allows you to draw 2 if you go up to level. It has a bunch of bonuses. I think it works really well in this deck. I'm going to seize. Whenever you draw a card, put a counter on it. You can remove 8 and get an 8/8 Kraken. I think that's going to be pretty sweet in here. Hoof Prince of the Stag. Whenever you draw a card, put counters on there. Pay 3, remove 4 hoof print counters, and then create a 4/4 flyer. So it just kind of feeds into itself, and hopefully it's going to be cool. There's a lot of cards here, so I'm gonna try and speed this up. But whenever you draw a card, pay 1 +1/+1, and then make a tentacle creature. If you're into that kind of thing, I'm not, personally, but I don't judge you. Min, Wily Illusionist is whenever you draw your second card, create an 1/1 illusion and gets +1/+0 for each illusion you control. And then if it dies, you get to put something in from your hand. It should be kind of cool. I like it, but I don't know if it actually fits in this deck. Diviner's Wand, whenever you draw a card, the creature it's equipped to gets +1/+1 and flying. So it can get a nice pump going on. One oh boy, I can't say this at all. There we go.
Can't even read.
Yeah. So whenever you draw a card, put a 1/1 counter on it. It can get pretty huge. Shabraz, the Sky Shark, also drawing cards, put 1/1 counters, and you gain a life. So that can also get huge. Toothy, draw a card, 1/1 counter. If it dies or leaves the battlefield, you draw a card for each 1/1 counter on it. That's pretty sweet in here as well. Queso, Augur of Agonies, that's from the new one, but whenever you draw a card, target player loses life, you gain a life. I like it a lot. Dream Trawler, draw a card, it gets +1/+0 until end of turn. It has life link. You get to draw a card when it attacks. Discarding a card protects it. It could do some work in here. Might be a little fat, but we'll see. Psychosis Crawler, draw a card. Each opponent loses life. Each opponent loses 1 life. Yeah. Sometimes, damage. All right. So those are the drawing and have a trigger happen. This is the discarding section. Whenever a player discards a card from his or her hand, you may gain 1 life. Could be cool, could be not. Might be too underpowered for what's going on. Like, I don't really want to attack with it, but maybe it's ho hum. I don't know. We'll see. Mr. Hockey's suggestion. This is Library of Lang. This is an unlimited version. But basically, whenever you discard a card, you can choose to put it on top of your library if you so choose. Ruthless Sniper, whenever you discard a card, pay 1, put a -1/-1 counter on a creature. That could be a nice cheap way. It blocks a little bit, but we'll see. Currency Converter is a new one. Whenever you discard a card, you may exile that card from your graveyard and then put a card exiled with Currency Conveyor into the graveyard. If it's a land, create a treasure token. If it's not, get a 2/2 Black Rogue into play. So it's cheap and it works pretty well in here. Containment Construct. I think I'm just going to cut this. I think there's a couple in here that kind of do this thing, but whenever you discard a card, you may exile that card from your graveyard. If you do, you may play that card this turn. I just don't. I think I'm going to be just playing from the graveyard anyway. So we'll keep it around, I guess, off the bat, but we'll see. Shadowstorm Vizier, whenever you discard a card, it gets +1/+1 until end of turn. It's cheap, it can block, and it's evasion. Should go really well in here. Lazotep Chancellor, whenever you discard a card, you may pay 1. If you do, amass 2. And so if I can make a big ol' army zombie token with this guy. It should be pretty cool. Drake Haven, whenever you discard a card, pay 1, create a 2/2 flying Drake. And so it perfectly works in here. Big Game Hunter Madness, which is whenever you discard it, you can pay a black, comes into play, destroy a creature. And that's nice to have. Spirit Cairn, whenever you discard a card, pay 1 white, create a 1/1 flying token. Works there. Feast of Sanity. I'm going to cut this right now, but whenever you discard a card, maybe not. Okay. Whenever you discard a card, it deals 1 damage to any target and you gain 1 life. That might do enough. It's not a creature, but it might be all right. Whenever you discard a card, happens once per turn, but you create a 2/2 black zombie creature token. Dying to Serve. Faith of the Devoted. If you discard a card, pay 1. Each opponent loses 2 life, you gain 2 life. So could be nice little reach. Curator of Mysteries. Whenever you discard a card, scry 1. That's scrying a lot of cards in this. Archfiend of Spite is here for the madness. You pay 5 when it's 6/6 flying. Whenever a source an opponent controls deals damage to it, that source's controller loses that much life unless they sacrifice that many permanents. And it's an either or, so could be cool. Shadow Grange Archfiend also has the madness, pay 8 life, but when it comes into play, each opponent sacrifices the creature with the greatest power among creatures they control. You gain life equal to the greatest power among creatures sacrificed this way. It's an 8/4. It's going to be huge. It's going to be an easy way to pay that madness cost. I like it a lot. All Seeing Arbiter. Whenever you discard a card, an opponent's creature get -X/-O for the amount of cards, types, different mana values among cards in your graveyard. And so I'm going to be able to discard, 3, 4, 5 cards and give my opponent's creatures 5 of them -X/-O. And it should be pretty cool. Bone Miser. Whenever you discard a card, if it's a creature, create a creature. If it's a land, create 2 black. And if it is a non-creature, non-land, draw a card. It's going to be sweet. Archfiend of Ifnir probably going to be the best card in the deck. Whenever you cycle or discard another card, put a -1/-1 counter on each creature your opponents control. You will never cycle this. You will always cast this. It is backbreaking. It is. It's so good. It is so damn good. All right. Steven says, I put the construct into Duretti, then took it out after one game. It doesn't really do much. Okay. I'll keep that in mind for sure. That's that discard, and you can remove it. It might do anything. Sage of Hours might be broken in this deck as well, but whenever it doesn't matter. Heroic doesn't matter. Remove all 1/1 counters from Sage of Hours. For each 5 counters removed this way, take an extra turn after this one. So you might be able to just keep on attacking with it and taking counters off of it. So could be quite good. Okay. So we're getting into the counters on the creature section. So Sage of Hours right there, Voice of the Blessed. You're gonna whenever you gain life, put a 1, that doesn't matter. As long as Voice of the Blessed has 4 more counters on it, it has flying and vigilance, which is a 6/6 flying vigilance for 2, ain't bad. As long as Voice of the Blessed has 10 or more counters on it, it has indestructible. So that can get big real quick and should be cool. Karlov, the Ghost Council, you can whenever you gain life, doesn't really matter, but a black and a white remove 6/1/1 counters from Karlov, exile target creature. Could be a cool way to do it too. Looks like we're getting into maybe it's the no Chasm Skulker. Whenever you draw a card, put a 1/1 counter on it. If it dies, create a bunch of squids. Hero of Britragard. Whenever you exile, doesn't matter. As long as hero has 5 or more counters on it, it has flying and is an angel in addition to its other types. As long as hero has 10 or more counters on it, it has indestructible and is a god in addition to its other types. So it can be huge. And it's pretty cheap and easy. Hopefully that works out. Constable of Realm, 5 mana, 3/3, renown 2. So if it deals damage, you put 2 1/1 counters on it. Whenever 1 or more 1/1 counters are put on Constable of the Realm, exile up to 1 other target non-land permanent until Constable of the Realm leaves the battlefield. This is kind of cool removal. Um, so if you put a bunch on there, I think you're able to just exile a bunch of things. Non-land permanent. Yeah. That seems cool. That seems cool, right? Oh, that's super true, Mr. Hockey. Ozlith with Sage of Hours is brutal combo, and I agree. Ozlith is in my pile. So Lissa, Fang of Silver Quail. Whenever a non-token creature you control dies, if it had counters on it, create X tap 2/1 white and black Inkling creature tokens with flying, where X is the number of counters it had on it. So it's going to create an army as they kill your armies. So it should be really good in there. I'm going to cut this right away. This little package is my mill package, but it's Teferi's Tutelage. When you draw a card, target opponent mills 2 cards. Whenever you draw a card, target opponent puts the top 2 cards. If they're the same color, you repeat the process. Psych- Psychic Corrosion is whenever you draw a card, opponent puts the top 2 cards of their library into the graveyard. Can do that. And then Mystic Redaction, whenever you discard a card, each opponent mills 2 cards. So there could be a mill component to this deck if you wanted to. I'm just not going to want to at this point in time, but it could be really fun. All right. Although there's a very different deck from Duretti, so it may work in it, but you need to have a lot of mana to really make it work. That has been my thought as well, Mr. Dempsey. I've been thinking that this could be really mana intensive. Um, and so we'll see if it just is gonna get down to just play, play the free triggers and get rid of anything that costs mana other than like madness or flashback or just casting your normal spells. And I think feast and famine's in this pile, and I think it's absolutely necessary in this deck. Sentinel's Eyes has escape, so you're able to play it from your graveyard. This is part of that thing where I was talking about like I don't necessarily want to have to play something right now, just play it from the graveyard or have a reanimation style cards. So I think Sentinel's Eyes has a chance. Griff's Boon, also 1/0 flyer, comes back from the graveyard. It's an easy discard. Snapcaster Mage is playing from your graveyard. Proxy that Adam didn't do. Um, we need to get Adam on that. Planar Barth. This card's amazing. It's going to be so good in here too. But put all basic lands from all graveyards into play under their owner's control tapped. This is going to be your best ramp card in this deck, and a lot of white decks in general, honestly. All right, Feast of Fell Rites. This is pay 3 life, bring a creature back from the graveyard. It has Unearth. So thought is you can discard whatever big creatures you need to, and you can bring it back with some of the reanimation stuff that you can go on. Dogged Detective is a new one from the commander sets, but when it ETBs, Surveil 2, and whenever an opponent draws their second card each turn, you can return that back to your hand. So you can easily be attacking with this to create the connive. You don't want to put the +1/+1 counters on it. Helps fill your graveyard. And if it dies, it comes back to your hand probably pretty easy. So I think that it's worth a shot. Bloodsoaked Champion is whenever you attack, it has raid. If it's dead, you can pay a black and a white or a colorless and bring it back to your hand. Battlefield, back to the battlefield. So it's a cool card when you're an aggressive deck. That's what this is. It wants to attack. I think it's solid. All right. So this is kind of graveyard shenanigans. We got Phyrexian Reclamation, which is a classic, just bringing creatures back to your hand. Skyclave Shade. It has landfall whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control. If it's in your graveyard and it's your turn, you may cast it from your graveyard this turn. Um, and so I should be able to do that. It's just having creatures go to the graveyard that want to attack that can easily come back and trigger like large connive things. I think that's going to work here. Reassembling Skeleton. If you don't know, now you know. Bloodghast is landfall, comes back into play. I highly suggest this as well. It should be cool. Animate Dead is just an aura that will reanimate any creature. Stitched Together has Threshold, return any card from your graveyard to play or a creature. So it's cheap, it's easy. I'll get the Threshold, which is 7 or more cards in the graveyard. Should be really good here. Together Forever is you pay 1 and choose target creature with a counter on it. When that creature dies this turn, return that card to its owner's hand. It should be pretty easy. We'll see how that goes. Aorami, the Dead Tide. You tap it, exile a bunch of cards, and then bring back something, a creature, and then it will be able to attack. You're kind of going wide, but it's just using stuff that you can't normally use. So I think it could have a spot. Patch Up, new card as well. Return up to 3 creatures of total mana 3 or less from the graveyard to the battlefield. It could be some really good value. We'll see. I don't know if it's going to end up making it. Necromancy, it's another reanimate aura. It's awesome. Decaying Soil, again, Threshold is pretty easy, but whenever a non-token creature is put into your graveyard from play, you may pay 1. If you do, return that card to your hand. Remove a card in your graveyard from the game. That's negligible. Has a shot. Victimize, sacrifice 1, bring back 2 from your graveyard. Sword of Light and Shadow, not an Atom proxy, but it is when it deals damage, you bring in a creature back into your hand. Just looking to not totally run out of cards, I guess. That's the thought. Crucible of Worlds means it doesn't hurt to discard your lands. Loris, the Dream Den, you can recast or you can cast stuff of 2 or less when it's in play. It has lifelink. It's might be okay. Might be a little too limited. Scarab God is bringing back creatures. Zombies has a little extra stuff there, but it's just a reanimation target. Whip of Erebos, I'm going to be aggressive. It gives lifelink, and you can reanimate a bigger creature for 4. It could be really cool there too. Teshar, Ancestor's Apostle. This is a reanimation spell. Whenever you cast like an artifact or a legend, you're bringing back one of your smaller creatures, which is perfect. Dream of the Dead. Blue and a colorless, take target white or black creature from your graveyard and put it directly into play as though it were just summoned. That creature now requires an additional cumulative upkeep 2. If that creature leaves play, remove it from the game. This was a curated, maybe last year, but maybe it has a shot. Might not be worth necessarily what I got going on, but could be. Storm of Souls, it's going to bring back a bunch of creatures as 1/1 spirits with flying. That's what I want to have happen. It's going to be nice. Writ of Return is new. Return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. You cipher it, so you're putting it on one of your unblockables. It's going to do it again to do, return it back to the battlefield tapped. Could be cool in here. Excuse me, I might cough a couple times. All right. Chaplain of Alms. I kind of wanted to play with some Disturb cards, which were from Midnight Hunt and Crimson Vow, but basically playing it from the graveyard, and each creature has Ward 1, and it's 2/1 flying for a strike. It should be cool. It's a little expensive on the 4, but maybe. Malevolent Hermit, pay a blue, sack it, counter target non-creature spell unless it pay 3, and then you can pay that. Non-creature spells you control can't be countered. Ooh, and that's pretty cool as well. Flashback is something that you can lean into if you want. So you can cast it from the graveyard, but draw a card, draw a card. Devoted Graph Keeper. This is the Disturb as well. And so normally it's going to be that. Can block only creatures with flying, but it's a 3/1 flyer for essentially 3. That's an easy bit. Vengeful Victim. This is Disturbed for 4, but it's super easy to come out whenever it attacks or blocks, sack it. So you don't want to put the counters on this. But then the other cool thing about Raffine is it's looking after the trigger happens, it's looking for how many creatures are attacking, not how many have attacked. And so you can have creatures that put out tokens, and then it's going to check for those tokens as well. So that should be cool. So that's what this does. It creates a 4/4 flying spirit, and it should be cool. Momentary blink, flash back. It's blinking, and Hollowed Respite is also blinking with flashback. All right. Making clones with flashback, cackling counterport. Demonic Embrace. You can cast it from your graveyard. It's just an aura that gives +3/+1 in flying. A Lingering Souls is flashback, creating a bunch of little 1/1 flyers. Could be cool in there. Timeless Dragon. I don't know where to put this, but I really, really like it. So you can go and get a planes into your hand, and then you can cast it from the graveyard. Has flying. It's big enough. It seems sweet in my mind. Easy to get there. Am- Amphin Mutineer, but Encore is, it's in the graveyard. Pay 6. Comes into play with 2 more, basically for as many opponents as you have. Attack, attack, attack. That's a bunch of triggers. They all go away, but Encore should be pretty cool here. Empty the Pits. Delve is another angle that you can kind of go add a couple of those in, but instant speed, you're probably going to empty your graveyard, but I bet you can fill that up pretty quick. But you create a bunch of 2/2 tokens in the battlefield tapped. It might be a little heavy on the 4. We'll see. Army of the Damned, flashback, create a bunch of zombies. That's all I'm looking to do. Treasure Cruise has the delve, so exiling cards from the graveyard again, draw 3 cards. You're still going to need to be able to fill up your hands. Dig Through Time, same thing. Echo of Eons, flashback for 3. You're shuffling your graveyard and your hand in and drawing 7. Everybody's doing that, but it's pretty cheap in this deck for 3. Could be really nice. First Fear Gargantuan on Earth is another angle that you can add in here, but basically comes into play, gives it haste. You draw a card, lose a life. Kind of like it. Vengeful Pharaoh. I will never cast this card if it makes the deck, but it is whenever combat damage is dealt to you or a planeswalker you control. If Vengeful Pharaoh is in your graveyard, destroy target attacking creature. Then put it on top of your library. So you're always drawing it, you're always discarding it. It is nice removal. It's free removal. Glory goes into the graveyard. Perfectly want to get it pitched. You're paying 3 creatures you control gain protection from the color of your choice. Only happens if it's in the graveyard. It should be pretty sweet. Songs of the Damned. Add 1 black mana to your pool for each creature in your graveyard. We'll see where that goes. Could be cool. Land tax is just being able to get cards into hand and being able to discard enough cards and, you know, take full advantage of the conniving trigger. But I guess we are also getting into the ramp packages. So land tax, Soul Ring, Springleaf Drum, and Moon Snare Prototype. These are just cheap, easy ramp in non-green colors. Wayfarer's Bauble also gets land into play. Stormscape Familiar reduces black and white spells by 1. Thought Vessel allows me to have more than 7 cards in my hand, and it's ramp. Felwar Stone, Arcane Signet, tapping for mana. Oreskos Explorer, again, trying to get lands in the hand so I could just take control and as much connive as possible. Cabal Ritual, again, I should have the threshold pretty easy. That should get me 5 black. Pretty nice. I don't normally play with rituals, so we'll see if they make the cut at all. Ornithopter of Paradise. It's mana, it's flying, it's going to attack later on in the game. It's going to be sweet. Ornithopter could also work in here. We will I didn't grab it, but we'll see where we're at. Sort of the Animist, whenever a creature attacks, you go get a basic land, put it into play. I believe this is an Atom proxy, if you like that style. Talisman of Hierarchy, so mana rock, mana rock, mana rock. I don't know what section this is. I think it's just drawing cards. Yeah, getting into drawing cards. All right. Benthic Biomancer is going to be cool. So whenever you put a 1/1, one or more 1/1 counters that are put on Benthic Biomancer, draw a card, then discard a card. So you could be like conniving, I believe. No, it doesn't work that way. That's too bad, actually. I still might like it, but like if I just don't plan on discarding a lot, I can just put it on there. Maybe. Dark Confidant, just trying to draw a bunch of cards. Tainted Indulgence. Hopefully this is just black blue, draw 2 cards, but discarding card shouldn't affect me. Dusk Legion Zealot is just ETB, draw a card, lose a life. Not too bad. Military Intelligence, attack with 2 or more creatures, draw a card. Chart a course, draw 2 cards. If you didn't attack, discard a card, should just be 2. Or Deal of Thassa. Triggers, put counters on it. You sack it if you have 3 or more, and then you draw 2 cards. Could be nice. I don't know. Shadow of the Grave also could be insane in this deck, but return to your hand all cards in your graveyard that were cycled or discarded this turn. Just a way to keep a bunch of cards in your hand. Smuggler's Copter, it's a vehicle that will draw you a card, discard a card if it attacks or blocks. Lots of cards. All right, we're roughly halfway. How far are we? Half hour. Ooh, okay. So putting 1/1 counters on stuff. We will. I think it was the backside that I really wanted. So whenever a creature you control with a 1/1 counter on it dies, draw a card. That's kind of what I'm aiming to be doing. So Grizzleaxe is going to be whenever you have a creature deal damage, you draw that many, that card. Dahita's Ploy, draw 2 cards and discard a card. You gain life equal to the number of cards you discarded this turn. And it has Jumpstart, and so you should be able to gain a bunch of life. Ingenious Mastery. I like this card more than I should, but it's, basically pay 3, draw 3 cards, and then somebody scries 2 and creates a couple treasures. I think it's kind of cool. So I'm going to see if it fits in here. Nikara Lair Scavenger. Whenever another creature you control leaves the battlefield, if it had 1 or more counters on it, you draw a card and you lose a life. That's what we're aiming for. Drawing cards. Mentor of the Meek, pay 1, draw a card. Timna the Weaver, it's for drawing cards. Vega the Watcher, depends on how many cards I have in my graveyard, but I draw a card whenever I cast from the graveyard. Alhamrite's Archive, If I draw more than one card, I'm drawing double that amount of cards, and I don't have a lot of gain life, so that doesn't really matter in here, but could be really good. Excuse me. Minions Murmurs, draw X cards for and then lose X life, where X is the number of creatures you control. Um, I like the card. I think it's going to draw me a lot of cards. Plea for power. It's either drawing 3 cards or take an extra turn. Coastal Piracy, just like Grizzlax, drawing cards for damage dealt by creatures. Same thing with Biden Nathasa and Reconnaissance Mission. All right, Deep Analysis is flashback, pay, and drawing cards from the graveyard. Chemist's Insight is the jump start, and you can play from your graveyard. Teferi's Ageless Insight, drawing extra cards for drawing extra cards. Tezzeret's Gambit. We'll see. There could be a proliferate poison thing in here. I only have one, and so I want to talk about that maybe. But it's draw 2 cards, proliferate. It works. Consecrated Sphinx is drawing you a ton of cards. This one I'll probably pull right now, but if I feel like I'm running out of cards, I'll add it back in. Swords of Plowshare, you know that. Path to Exile, you know that. Retribution of the Ancients, pay a black, remove X/1/1 counters from among creatures you control. Target creature gets -X until end of turn. Probably solid removal in here. Shine Wind, you can pay 2, remove a 1/1 counter from it, destroy target enchantment. So repeatable removal. It's cool. All right. Removal, Fracture, it's new. Damn. Also removal, it's basic removal right here. Forsake the Worldly. This got me on Stump the Smith's Font one time. Oh, darn. But Void Rend is removal. Anguished Unmaking, removal. Vindicate, Utter End. Nothing special about those. They're just removal. Oh, this thing's getting me. But Avatar of Woe. If there are 10 or more creature cards total in all graveyards, it costs 6 less. So black, 6/5 fear that taps to destroy any creature. I like the card. Let's see if it can. I'm gonna get rid of it. I don't think it makes it. Destroy all creatures with no counters on them. It's new and should be cool. Legion's Landing. Attack with 3 or more creatures. You flip it, and then you can make more tokens with it. Animation Module. Whenever you put a 1/1 counter on a creature, you can pay 1. If you do, create a colorless servo. And you can pay 1 for each time a counter is put on it. So it's sweet. Rabble Rousing. For each creature you have attacking, create a 1/1 creature attacking. So Raffine should be able to check that. It'll see a bunch more creatures, double the amount that you attacked with, and check that out before any blocking happens. Bitter Blossom is just token making going wide. Captain's Claws, attacking, creating creatures, going wide. Malicious Pride, whenever a non-token creature you control attacks, you can pay a 1, then create an attacking token. Going wide. Geist's Draft creates a token, going wide. Adeline is crazy. Creating a bunch of tokens, going wide. Brimaz is making a token on attack. Thalia's Geist Caller, also creating tokens whenever you cast from your graveyard. It could work in here. Invocation of Saint Traft is just going wide. I think I cut that right now. Myria Angel is just making tokens going wide. Again, I'm going to cut this right now. Ranger of Eos. In this deck, it's going to be able to go and get 2 1 or less CMCs, and then those are unblockables, and that should be good, solid. Attacks, create tokens, going wide. Hero Bladehold attacks, makes tokens, goes wide. Getting into unblockable creatures here. Guttle Lurker, 1/1, can't be blocked. Hope of Garpur, 1/1 for 1. It has a little sack ability, but has flying. It's going to be hard to block. Signal Pest, 0/1, but you're going to get the counters on it. Can't be blocked unless it has flying or reach. Siren Storm Tamer, 1/1 flyer for 1, can counter a spell. Mausoleum Wanderer, 1/1 for 1, flying, could counter a spell. Triton Shorestalker, 1/1 for 1, unblockable. Tormented Soul, 1/1 for 1, unblockable. Fairy Seer, 1/1 for 1, flying, and then an ETB ability. Mistcloak Herald, 1/1 for 1, can't be blocked. Slitherblade, 1/1 for 1, 1/2 for 1, can't be blocked. Seer, Wanderwing Familiar. Spells your point, so it makes it harder to target Raffine. Probably worth it in here. Blightsteel Agent. So you attack with poison, give it a bunch of 1/1 counters on it. You have a some of the stuff that can just increase the poison counters. Could be interesting. We'll see if I want to do that route. Actually, no, I don't. I don't like poison. I don't like poison, but you could do it. So I just wanted to show you. You could do it. Proliferate's going to help all the counters that are being thrown around anyway. Cerulean Drake, 1/1 for 2, flying, can sacrifice and counter a spell. Cunning Survivor. This can get huge and cool. So whenever you cycle or discard a card, Cunning Survivor gets +1/+0 until end of turn. Can't be blocked this turn. So unblockable. It's going to be huge. It's like Connive on its own. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, Elusive Spell Fist gets +1/+0 until end of turn and can't be blocked this turn. That seems less reliable, so cut it. Looter Ilkor, 1/1 Shadow. Whenever it deals damage, draw a card, discard a card. That's nice to be able to put counters on. Unblockable. Demir Infiltrator. Transmute, 1/3, unblockable. Makes sense to me. Vidalcan Infiltrator. 1/3, can't be blocked, and it can block at the beginning of the game until you start going. And then if you have Metalcraft, bigger, man. Ledger Shredder. Also connives, but 1/3 flyer. Gets bigger on its own. Changeling Outcast. 1 for a 1/1, unblockable. Ginger Brute, 1 for a 1/1. You can pay 1 to make it unblockable, except for something with haste. Una's Prowler. I like this card. I'm probably gonna get cut, but 3/1 flyer for but if somebody discards a card, it gets -2/-0. So but it's tricky. It's tricky good. Nether Trader, 1/1, haste, unblockable, or shadow. And then it can come back from the graveyard. Vault Scourge, 1/1 flyer, lifelink for essentially 1. Ink Fathom Infiltrator. It is a unblockable. Baleful Strix draws you a card. It's flying. It's fantastic. Invisible Stalker is unblockable and hexproof. Ghostly Pilferer can draw you cards, can be unblockable, it does a lot of different things. I like it, but we'll see where it gets. Thieving Skydiver, 2/1, steals artifacts, has flying. I haven't used this yet, but stealing somebody's boots or greaves or soul ring seems solid. I like it. Cloud of Fairies, 1/1 flyer, untaps 2. It's like solid ramp in here. Shadow Mage Infiltrator, 1/3 with fear, draws your card if it deals damage. Hunted Phantasm, 4/6 unblockable, but it gives away creatures. It's cool. Slippery Scoundrel, 2/2 if you have the Sitting's Blessing, gets hexproof and can't be blocked. Azorius Herald, unblockable, gains you 4 life. Let's get rid of that. It's 3 mana. 1/4 unblockable and can become another creature. I'll keep that around. Meringue River Prowler. You can't block and can't be blocked and can cast it from your graveyard. So kind of nice there. All right, last little handful here. Yukima, it can deal damage for as big as its power is, and it is unblockable. It definitely works in here. Fairy Vandal, 1/2, that whenever you draw your second card, it gets a +1/+1 on it. I'm going to cut it right off the bat. Soltari Visionary, 2/2 Shadow. Whenever it deals damage, destroy an enchantment. I like it. Soltari Champion. Whenever it attacks, all your creatures get +1/+1 at Shadow. Exotic Pets creates 2 1/1s that can't be blocked and gets tokens or whatever. But that's pretty good value. Elusive Tormentor is for the backside, which is hexproof, indestructible, can't be blocked. And it's an 0/1, but you can grow it with it's a game ender almost. So that's sweet. Deep Sea Kraken, 6/6 unblockable, suspend 9. It comes out pretty easy. I wouldn't worry about that. Reconnaissance allows you to attack with everything and pull stuff back if you want, but you're still going to get that trigger. It should be good in here. The Ozolith is going to be able to keep all the stuff, all the counters that are going on. Totally should work. Lightning Greaves is protection. Thrumming Bird is the proliferate that I was thinking about. 1/1 flyer. Swiftfoot Boots is protection. Crashing Drawbridge is there to block and give haste. Tortured Existence is a sweet one where you can just like pay black, discard a creature, bring back a creature, and just pay it. And there's a bunch of discard triggers here, so it works. It should be cool. And Offense of the Tree Spirit. Whenever another non-token creature enters the battlefield under your control, bolster one. This was counter support. I think I'm just going to cut that. Grateful Apparition. It 1/1 flyer and it has proliferate, so it works. Gift of Estates is getting lands into your hand. Just one of those card advantage ideas. We'll see if that works. Sword of Truth and Justice. It gives counters and proliferates. Could be nice. Polymorphous Jest. This is kind of like a little bit of a fog in the deck. So it's creating 1/1 frogs. We'll see. We'll see if that makes it. Obscura Charm. I have so many cards, and I was just thinking, I got to showcase foil, but I think it goes away. Sort of Feast of Famine, untapping your lands. That's what you want doing. That's what it's for. Mask of the Schemer. Whenever a quick creature deals combat damage to a player, it connives X, where X is the amount of damage it dealt to that player. So it connives and can get really big. Could be really fun. Ozolith knockoff. We'll try it. Solemn makes sense here. Maybe. Teferi, Mage of Time, is there to draw cards, discard cards, maybe take extra turns. Embodiment of Agony could be really big. It's cheap. It gets +1/+1 counter on it for each different mana cost among non-land cards in your graveyard. You should be able to. It should be huge for 3. Night Howler gets +X/+X for the number of creature cards in all graveyards. Could be nice. Has the bestow, so you can put it on there. Grave Blade Marauder Death Touch. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, that player loses X life equal to the number of creature cards in your graveyard. You're discarding a bunch of cards. It might do something. Might not matter. Bastion Protector is commander gets indestructible. Frontline Medic. You attack with 3 or more creatures, they all get indestructible. So that's another one that's nice since you're aggressive. Samite Elder. Creatures you control gain protection from essentially white, black, and blue in this deck. It's pretty sweet. Steel of the Godhead. Raffine gets +2/+2, lifelink, and unblockable. Great card. Mist of Stagnation. Permanents don't untap during their controller's untap steps. At the beginning of each player's upkeep, that player untaps a permanent for each card in his or her graveyard. That's going to work for you and might be hard for them. Grim Hireling creates treasure tokens whenever you deal damage to opponents. It should be cool. Verena Lich Queen is whenever you attack with 1 or more zombies, but it creates zombies and you're filling up your graveyard. So it's kind of like a backup Raffine. We'll see if it makes the cut. But it gains you life, draws you cards, essentially the same thing without the +1/+1 counters. Zora the Enchanter allows you to go and get stuff. I just assume stuff. Camise, Obscura Oculus gives unblockability and then double strike. So we'll see how that goes. Collective Restraint makes it so that people can't attack you unless they pay 3 mana for each creature attacking you. God Pharaoh's Gift. At the beginning of combat, you can bring back a creature from your graveyard, and it's a 4/4 black zombie, has haste. Gate to the Afterlife. Whenever a non-token creature you control dies, gain 1 life, then draw a card, discard a card, and then you can pay 2, sacrifice it, and go and search for this. I kind of have wanted to do that for a long time, so I think I'm just going to force that one in. And then Elspeth, Sun's Nemesis. It's going to be able to escape pretty easy. And then it's giving it's creating tokens. The gaining life hardly matters, but up to 2 target creatures you control each get +2/+1. So that's giving those unblockables some niceness there. All right, I did not cut as much as I thought. I'm going to take like a 2-minute break just to blow my nose and get some water. Okay, I will be back. All right, back in record time. All right. So, how the fuck are we gonna how are we gonna cut this down, right? All right, let's try and get this into kind of sections. All right, wizard class is nice and cheap. Let's see here. All right, I like it. I'm gonna seize. This is kind of like I haven't used it, so I give a little bit of precedence, but the 5 is a lot. Have no maximum hand size, which is good with like the archive and ageless insight. So that's kind of nice. I'm gonna seize makes a ton of sense. Hoofprints is like a little bit of expensive. Same thing with Nadir Kraken. I think Min goes away. I don't think that does enough. Diviner's Wand, I really like. I'm not sure what to do with this one. Shabraz seems cool. It's a little bit more expensive, but makes sense to me. Toothy seems cool. Queso seems cool. Dream Trawler I like. Psychosis Crawler. All right. So we want to keep those. I mean, this goes wide pretty hard. I think Hoofprints of the Stag goes away. Just the 3 doesn't make a ton of creatures. I think it goes in that regard. So we'll cut that. I think so. These 3 are on the cutting block at this point. I like Nadir because it can go wide though and tall at the same time. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We should be aggressive. I'm going to keep Nadir and then we're going to cut these 2. I think this is too expensive and probably not doing enough. We'll cut those 2. All right, getting into discarding. Confessor, like I said, I think it's just not doing enough. Like it's cool, but just not needed. Library of Lang. This is one that's going to be like hardcore sideboard. Just like once I start learning the deck and be like, you know what, it would be nice to put this on top of the library. But if I'm playing from the graveyard enough, I should be fine with just like discarding cards. So I'm going to cut this for now. Ruthless Sniper. I'm going to have a pretty fat one spot, I think, with all those unblockables. But it might be worth keeping it around. Currency Converter creates tokens, creates treasures. It just seems like free. So I'm going to keep that. Containment construct. I think I'm going to follow what Mr. Dempsey said. I'm just going to cut it. I think I'm doing enough from the graveyard. I'm fine. Shadowstorm Vizier makes sense to me. I'm not really going wide with this, but this can get big real quick. Going wide with Drake Haven, Big Game Hunter Madness removal, which is probably pretty light. Spirit Cairn might be too specific with the 1 white, but we'll see. Feast of Sanity, discarding 4 cards, dealing 4 damage for 4 mana consistently. I don't hate that. Whenever you discard 1 or more cards, create a tap 2/2 black zombie creature token. This ability triggers only once each turn, and I'm only going to be doing it during my turn. So let's cut this. Let's cut this. Faith of the Devoted, though, I'm willing to pay a lot to just start doming people in the deck. So let's try for that. Curated is free. Curator 4/4. It can be cycled pretty easy, but I like it for now. I like Archfiend of Spite and Shadow Grange Archfiend. They're the Archfiend bit. All Seeing Arbiter might be a little fat. Until my next turn. Okay, that's kind of huge too. That's pretty nice because it's not just until end of turn, but until your next turn. Bone Miser, I think, is going to be good. Like I said, Archfiend of Ifnir is going to be the best card in the deck. Sage of Hours. I mean, do I think that's all right? it's kind of an infinite combo, which I wouldn't necessarily be super stoked about. Um, let's cut it for now. Let's cut it for now. Voice of the Blessed, Karlov, Chasm Skulker, Hero of Birchred, Constable of the Realm. I'll have to check on that, but I think I really like all of these quite a bit. You know, I can't get the 10 counters super quick to make them indestructible, but once they are, they're in trouble. You know, they're 10-10, you know, or 12-12, 11-11, flying indestructibles with a bunch of counters on them. That seems appealing. Um, I like those. I like those. Felicia seems sweet. Sentinel's Eyes can probably go. It's cheap, but it doesn't give the evasion, and I don't really care if I'm back there blocking. Excuse me. But Griff's Boon I like because it gives the flying. But maybe most of the cards don't care? That's a good question. Because having one big guy back. All right. Let's keep Sentinel's Eyes to be able to just keep the vigilance going. I have a feeling I'm going to have enough creatures that can get through, so I'm not worried about the flying. Let's try that. um, let's see here. I don't know where I'm at in my stacks. I kind of split them up. This is the backside, right? Yep. All right. Snapcaster Mage is cheap, but it's not really attackable. But do I really care afterward? I don't have. I mean, I'm really creature based, and normally that's how I am anyway. So let's cut Snapcaster for right now. Planar Birth is going to be crazy. Priest of Fell Rights. I don't think I need this. I think I have enough draw in the deck. I'm not going to be worried about what's going on with it necessarily. I think I really like the idea of just being able to attack with these things that come back super cheap and easy. So I think we'll go with that. Phyrexian Reclamation can probably just go because I'm going to have the blood soaked champion style cards in there that just come back easy. Yeah. Yeah. We can get rid of that. We'll keep the Skyclave, Resembling Skeleton, Bloodgast. I might have to cut those out though, too, just for the unblockables. Reanimate. Together Forever might be too slow. Same thing with Aurami. So the graveyard equal to the number of opponents you have. I think I'm gonna just go with straight reanimation cards. Patch Up is probably just that'll get things going though. I kind of like that. You know, like I can bring back a handful. We'll see what the curve actually looks like. Necropotent, Decaying Soil makes sense because this the difference between this is not all my creatures are going to have +1/+1 counters on it unless I support that a little bit more. Whereas I will always have Threshold and I'll be able to just, if they die, they come back to my hand. Victimize, same thing. Sword of Light and Shadow. I always like this card more than I should. We'll keep that. Crucible, I think is good. I think Lurrus can go. I don't, just once per turn. Um, that's all it is. It's flexible because you're able to bring back other permanents other than creatures, but just once per turn, I think kind of hurts it. Scarab God, exile target creature card from a graveyard. Create a token that's a copy of it, except it's 4/4. Or his hand at the beginning of the next end step. At the beginning of each upkeep, each opponent loses X life, and you scry X, where X is the number of zombies you control. It seems pretty powerful. Seems pretty powerful. I think I like Scarab God. I think I'm gonna keep Scarab God. Whip of Erebos can go. The lifelink is really nice, but like paying 4, I'm not gonna be bringing back a bunch of huge creatures here. So that part is probably wasted. The Char seems solid. I'll have to end up seeing what my legend count is, but I'll bet you I'll always be able to play like an artifact with drawing that many cards. Dreams of the Dead would be better if I was reanimating larger creatures. So bye-bye. Storm of Souls, though, makes a ton of sense because you're going wide. Writ of Return, reanimation, but it's expensive, but fun. So that might be something. Chaplain of Alms. Giving everything Ward 1 seems nice, but 4 is probably just too expensive. We'll cut that. Malevolent Hermit. Just being able to have your non-creature spells you control can't be countered. That seems pretty solid for 3. And it has flying. It's a 2/2 flyer. For 3, easy to pitch. I like it in here. Think twice. Probably not needed. We'll cut that. I always just cut that card. I like it, but I cut it. Whenever you cast a spell from your graveyard, tap target creature you don't control. I'm doing that enough in here, but it's probably there just for can block only creatures. Just for the 3/1 flyer can be pitched pretty easy. We'll see if the disturb stuff kind of sticks there. All right. Exile a target creature you control, then return it to the battlefield under its owner's control. Exile target non-legendary creature, any one of them, then return it to the battlefield under its owner's control. If it entered under your control, put a 1/1 counter on it. Otherwise, untap it. 2 and 3 versus 2 and 4. Instant sorcery. Any creature but non-legendary, and any creature I control. I think I'm gonna mostly be playing it for the flashback, so we'll get rid of Momentary Blink and have Hallowed Respite. I don't care if I'm making tokens. I'm not doing anything crazy here. And again, I probably don't care about the flying or the recasting of it. I'm fine with that. Lingering Souls seems cool. Make it going wide. Timeless Dragon, still, I like that. And then Amphin Mutineer. Given 4 threes might be pretty brutal in this deck. I think we'll cut that one. I like Encore, but I think I just cut both my Encore cards. I'd have to look a little bit harder. Empty the Pits, I think, is just going to be too expensive, especially if I'm playing from the graveyard. I'm not going to. All right, let's see here, actually. What would the comparison be between these two? Am I ever going to be able to cast 5, 6, 7, 8 plus 10, 5 and or 8 into 10? Or am I just instant speed, end of turn, exile in the graveyard, creating a huge army, go black, 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 and then as much mana as I can into as much cards in the graveyard. I think this creates a better army. So let's get rid of Army of the Damned and keep Empty the Pits for now? Question mark? Question mark? We'll see. We'll see, I guess. Oof. Oof. Let's see here. All right, Treasure Cruise is drawing me cards. I like that idea. Dig Through Time. I still like that idea. So that's 3 delve cards. I'm down for it. Echo the Eons. I don't really want to shuffle the graveyard in. Hands graveyard to library, then draw 7 cards. It's not discarding, which could have been fun, I guess. Not sure. Not sure. I think we cut it. I don't think we need it. I do like the Unearth part, though. I might run with that. Vengeful Pharaoh still makes sense. Glory still makes sense. Songs of the Damned. I don't know how much that makes sense, though. What am I ramping into? What am I? I don't think I'm ritualing into much. So I think we get rid of that. Land tax makes sense. Soul Ring, yes. Springleaf, Moon Snare, yep. Wayfarer's Bauble, yep. Stormscape makes sense. Thought Vessel. Let's get rid of it. Maybe a full hand isn't that good anyway, because I do have the discard effects, and so maybe I want to be able to discard anyway. All right, Fellwar Stone, Arcane Signet, make a ton of sense. Do we have all right, signets or the talismans? Just go right in there so I don't have to waste time. This is a creature that might just get ignored, and that might be all right. Plains cards doesn't have to be basic. Normal players who control more lands than you reveal those cards and put them into your hand. Shuffle your library. I'm okay with that so far. Cabal Ritual. I think I'm cutting the rituals at this point. Ornithopter of Paradise makes a ton of sense to me. Sort of the Animist. All right, where are we at that? Let me. I'm gonna blow my nose real quick. Mute. All right. I think it's a great card, right? But it might set back land tax and the Leonin of Oreskos. Might get rid of it. I mean, I still like it, but let's get rid of it for now. It's aggressive. It'll be worth it. I think we have enough smaller creatures. We'll get rid of Benthic Biomancer. If we keep the curve lower, we'll keep that there. Tainted Indulgence makes sense at this point. Dusk Legion Zealot makes sense at this point. Military Intelligence, I'm okay with. Chart of Course, I'm cool with. Ordeal of Thassa, I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. Shadows of the Grave makes sense. Smuggler's Copter. Crewing 1 is just so nice. I have plenty of little creatures that won't do much. Makes sense here. That backside, whenever a creature you control with a 1/1 counter on it dies, draw a card. Put a 1/1 counter on any other target creature. So you can like, I don't know if I want to just kill my own creatures. Choose that creature. And this is Flying Vigilance. And so this could work out too. Counter on each creature that entered the battlefield under your control this turn. I still like this card. I think both sides are fairly relevant. Grizzlax makes a ton of sense in here. Dihada's Deploy or Dihada's Ploy can draw me a bunch of cards. It has Jumpstart, so I can just discard it. I like it. I like it. Ingenious Mastery. This can probably go. I don't think it's. Oh, well, hold on. Yeah. I think I like that. That's just straight draw. It's straight gas. It can help somebody out, somebody else out, right? I like it. Yeah. Dempsey saying that Army of the Damned is too expensive way back when I cut that. Yeah. Agreed. It's just expensive. It'd be cool. Like, I think it might go well in that like sacrifice a creature, double it thing, but nah, not here. Whenever another creature you control leaves the battlefield, if it had one or more counters on it, you may draw a card and lose 1 life. Has menace, so it has a little bit of I like that part. I like it. Maybe. Mentor of the Meek still makes sense. It's not the greatest, but it's nice. Like doing it multiple times. Timna the Weaver, I'm gonna be just attacking everybody anyway. I like it. Vega, I don't think that's gonna be doing enough. We can get rid of that. Alhemrite's Archive. 5 mana is a lot. But you land this, attack with 3 creatures, draw 6, discard 3. I believe how that would work, but I might have to look that up. That's going to be game breaking. So I'd have to consider all the other cards that I'm drawing with. Minions Murmurs. I like that. Let's cut Plea for Power though. I think people are going to see this a lot with the voting deck that's out there as well. So we can skip that. Coastal Piracy, by Nathasa, and Mission. I have these in a bunch of decks. I want to play different cards, so I'm just gonna cut these. So, all right. Deep Analysis. I like the card. Might be worth it. Might get cut. Same thing with Chemist's Insight. The jump start's nice. Teferi's Ageless Insight is probably just backbreaking once that happens. Tezzeret's Gambit. I'm not doing the poison, but if I did, I would highly consider this. But 3 mana, 2 cards, proliferate, making big creatures already bigger. We can cut that, I'm sure. Swords, Path, Retribution of the Ancients makes sense to me. Shine Wind probably doesn't do enough. If it hit artifacts, I'd consider it. I'd like it a lot more. Destroy target artifact, enchantment, or planeswalker. I'm down with that for now. Damn is cool. Probably just try and aim to single use it, but whatever. Forsake the Worldly, exile artifact or enchantment. That makes sense. Void Rend can't be countered. Destroy target non-land permanent. That seems good. Removal. Too expensive. It's always too expensive at this point. Damning. The thing is, I'm big on 3 or less for targeted removal. This is 4. You're getting into Wrath territory. I'd rather just play Wrath. Like Damning Verdict. I still kind of like it. So we'll keep that, right? Legion's Landing creates a token, flips, and create more tokens. They all have lifelink, which is nice. We'll keep it around for now. Animation module, I like that. Creating a bunch of tokens here. Bit of Blossom is sweet. Captain's Clause, I'm going to say, I think just doesn't do it. Okay. So Dempsey is yep. That I was the archive with my commander, and so you're saying you draw double the amount of cards that I would draw and only discard 1 per creature. So that should be sweet. I think that'll be back-breaking, and I should be able to get there a lot quicker. I think Captain's Clause isn't enough. It's not bad though. Like, do I like that better than Malicious Pride? All right, we're getting into like token generation. All right. So I like Ranger of Eos to a degree. This is kind of all right. The problem with Geist of St. Traft, okay, so like it attacks, it creates a 4/4, and I'd have to make it bigger to not have it die. It has hexproof, which is nice. That might be all right. Captain's Clause, I think goes. I don't think that's going to be good enough. And Malicious Pride, I think Thalia's Geist Caller goes. I don't think that's going to make it. Hero and War Leader makes sense. Brimaz makes sense because the vigilance, Geist, Malicious Pride. I like all of these so far. Major Vios. All right. Unblockable, hard to block. We have a fistful there, and we need to decide what works, what doesn't. This is just unblockable. Unblockable. Boop, boop. And then these actually do something, right? Doing something generally is just better than plain old unblockable. So can block, can't be blocked, but can't block and is unblockable. Can't be blocked, can't be blocked. So I like this one at least because it's a 1/2, and so it can put up a little bit of a fight. I think we cut these. I think doing something is just better than not doing something. So the scrying 2, counter, pump, and then can stop stuff. So at least right there, I'm happy with that. That's a 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 6 of them. Cool with that. Seer is flying, but it gives protection to Raffine, which is a focal point, and so well worth it. Uh, Counterspell, totally worth it. This seems like it's going to be huge, so I kind of like that. Drawing and discarding more doesn't really matter. I don't know if I really care for that, especially since I got a mitt full anyway. Let's cut that one. Core. Demir Infiltrator. I don't use a lot of tutoring. Um, and so I think maybe we just cut it. Even though I think it'd be good. I think it'd be good if you want to use something like that, go for it for sure. Unblockable. It can block early. I kind of like that one. And I like Ledger Shredder for sure. Can't block, can't be blocked. It's in that range again. We're just gonna cut that. Same thing with Ginger Brute, just not doing a whole ton. Onus Prowler probably just gets cut. Like, I think people will learn not to discard to it. So Nether Trader, we'll keep that one. Bolt Scourge, it's cheap. Lifelink, we'll keep it around. Ink Fathom, just unblockable. We'll get rid of that. Baleful Strix is drawing me a card. Invisible Stalker has the hexproof, which you load up the counters on that, and that seems more reliable. 2/1. Whenever it becomes untapped, you may pay 2 if you do draw a card. That's probably unreasonable in this deck. Whenever an opponent casts a spell from anywhere other than their hand, draw a card, and then discard a card. Can't be blocked this turn. This probably got too much going on for what I already have. It's not good enough. All right, Thieving Skydiver. I think that's worth it. Enters the battlefield. If it was kicked, gain control of target artifact with converted mana cost X or less. If that artifact is an equipment attached to that to Thieving Skydiver. I like that. Draw 4 and all. Yeah, yeah. Archive is totally good in Duretti. For sure. For sure. Cloud of Fairies untaps 2. Tempted, but I think that ends up going. Shadow Mage Infiltrator, Fear, drawing a card, but it's at 3. We're getting at that's expensive now. I think Cephalid Face Taker just doesn't fit here. This can go from the graveyard. This deals damage, drawing. This gives a bunch of creatures. I think we cut the Hunted Phantasm. This is hexproof and unblockable for the most part. Might not be worth it, but deals damage when it dies. I like that. Deals damage, destroy an enchantment. I don't know how wide I'm going to be going. Attacks. I mean, that is nice though, right? I'm okay with that for now. For now, exotic pets. For each kind of counter among creatures you control, put a counter of that kind on either of those tokens. I'm down. I'm down. 3 for 2/1/1s. That's okay. I like the backside of that. Deep Sea Kraken makes sense. Reconnaissance makes sense. The Ozolith makes sense. Greaves and Boots. Let's cut Thrumming Bird. All right, getting rid of that. Crashing Drawbridge. I don't know how much I'm going to be able to. I think the tokens coming out makes the haste so much better. I think we cut that. Tortured Existence makes sense to me. Grateful Apparition with the Proliferate. I kind of want that and Thrumming Bird back in. We'll put Thrumming Bird back in. We might make the 1/1 counter thing like just kind of go off a little bit. Gift of Estates, I don't think that's good enough. Not here. I'd rather just draw 2 cards or whatever off that. Sword of Justice with the Proliferate, more counters. Makes sense. Polymorphous Jest. Sudden Sickening would be really nice in here too, but I mean, I still got a stack, so like we just got to cut that probably. Feast and Famine works. Mask of the Schemer, more Conniving works. Resourceful Defense, I like it. Solemn can go. It's just, I think I got other stuff going on. Teferi is quite good. I like that. Body Mist of Agonies can be huge. Flying Death Touch. It's pretty big. I think that's gonna be pretty big. Night Howler, on the other hand, um, Grave Blade Marauder. I think these can both go. I think they can go. I still like Bastion Protector in there. I like Frontline Medic. I like Samite Elder. I like so the reason why I like this and like Glory, because that means that it can be really tough to block my creatures. They're already kind of unblockable though. Survives against Blasphemous Act, but not really Wrath. All right, we'll cut it. We'll cut it. Fine. Steel of Godhead still seems sweet. Mist of Stagnation, Grim Hireling. You got a bunch of stuff. You're going to get 4 to 6 tokens or treasures per turn. That's going to be pretty good. Farina, um, I don't have like any zombies in there other than what I would exile. I don't really want to exile a whole ton because I think I like the Delve cards better. Yeah, we'll go with the Delve cards. Let's cut Zer for now. I'll check out the enchantment suite, but Camille's the unblockability is kind of pointless. And then the double strike, I don't think I have any damage stuff, but it'd be nice on those huge things. I think we cut it. Collective Restraint is nice, just not to get hit on the backside. Elspeth's Son Champion. I think this is just too expensive for what I got going on. Well, we'll cut that, and we cut these 3. Not doing too bad. Not doing too bad right now. We're at an hour 20. Cut this. We have cut that many cards so far, and we only have that many cards left. Let's go with CMC across the board. Let's just start moving stuff. All right, 1, 2, 3. What we got? We can do 4. All right. That's 6, 7. That's 3, 4, 5. All right. And then this way you see kind of your curve, what's going on. It should be pretty helpful to see kind of like if you're getting too fat on your back end. That's the main reason why I do it. This is really a 3. This is a 4. And so it's helpful. Like 3 is already looking pretty fat. I'll bet you 2 and 1 are fatter than I'm normally deal with as well. And so we'll see. We'll see where this kind of goes. 2, 4, 5. Is that all on there? A little blurry, but the autofocus is shit on foils and it screws it all up, so I don't have it on. Apologies. 3, 3, 3, 2, 1, 1, 1. All right. 4 4s. 5, 3. That's a 3. So what cards am I missing from Raffine? Write that in the comments or you know, as we live stream this. Let's see here. 1 1 1 1 1. I think Glory goes. I got that other thing. This can go. All right. This is basically a free spell. That's always being discarded. This is a 3. I don't know where this is, but it's expensive. This is going to be a 4. This is probably a 3 and a 2. 2 and a 3. 3, 3, 3. Technically free. That's a 2, 2, 2, 2, 5. 6, 4, and 5. Because you want to make sure that your power kind of scales properly. 5, 3, 3. Because if you're too like in the lower power stuff, like people are just going to outclass you later in the game, but you want to be doing something, and so you just want to be able to balance it properly. 2, 3. 5, 6. This is a 3-year. This is a 5, 4. And then this way, seeing where things are going to land, you're better able to see comparison. Like, what do I want to be doing on this turn? Here, hither, and yon, stuff like that. 5. This is 3 and 3, and that is 2. All right. How fat are we at the top? Not too bad. 6 and 7. I am not sure what I like more between Treasure Cruise and Dig Through Time. I like God Pharaoh's Gift. I like Empty the Pits. I don't hate any of those. All right. Boop, 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 boop. Well, this shows you that my camera's all fucking wonky. All right. All right. Let's see here. Down to the 6 spot. I like all of these. Let's reread All-Seeing Arbiter. So 6 for 5/4 flying. When it enters the battlefield or attacks, draw 2 cards and discard a card. Not too bad. Whenever you discard a card, target creature an opponent controls get -X/-0 until end of next turn, where X is the number of different mana values among cards in your graveyard. I mean, that's going to be all over the place. It's more than likely going to be like 1, 2, 3, 4 mana values. So I mean, we're fat at the 1, 2, 3. So it'll at least be like -3, -0. Oops, sorry. That's my thought. I like it just for that aspect of not getting attacked super quick. Uh let me think. I like it. I like it. Right. All right. 5 spot Shabraz is going to be huge. Psychosis Crawler is going to get some work in. Archfiend of Spite probably works. I mean, I like it. I have a bunch of them. And Madness is never going to be easier. So I think we aim for that. Bone Miser is going to get a lot of work done. Archfiend of Ifnir is going to be crazy. Constable of Realms. Whenever one or more 1/1 counters are put on it, exile up to one other target. Okay, so if I put a bunch on there, it just triggers the once. Um, Proliferating could be nice. 5 mana, 3/3 gets up to a 5/5. I don't have a lot of removal. Let's see here. Up to one other target non-land permanent, so it can hit non-creatures. That's worth sticking around for. Scarab God, 4/4s unblockables could be cool. Um, I have enough. I don't know if I have enough stuff, but like right there, empty the pits at the end of the game could be brutal. This is making tokens or zombies. I have a couple of random ass zombies like Bone Miser, but probably not that much at this point. I think this is a casualty of just being too expensive. Still like it though. Writ of the Return. I think I'm gonna be able to get a bunch of creatures coming back. I kind of like this more than I should. All right. Archive is good. Damning Verdict is gonna get some work done, but also there's so many counters on things, right? Right? It's gonna save some of my creatures. They're gonna be huge. But that Hydra player is gonna fucking love it too. Um, wish it wasn't 5. We'll keep it around for now. Rabble Rousing is perfect in here. Mist of Stagnation is gonna have people hating you. I would bet. All right, this gets huge. This can get a little bit of reach going on. You draw a card, target opponent loses 1 life, and you gain 1 life. Um, Yeah, yeah. Whenever you discard a card, same thing. And that's kind of nice too. 1 damage to any target, to target opponent. Okay, so any target, this is kind of creature removal too. I like that. I like that a lot. Curator of Mysteries is just scrying a bunch. Do I care about scrying? That's digging. That's digging quite a bit. Um, I'm not going. It's free though. It's free and a 4/4 and a Sphinx. All right, Felicia makes a ton of sense here. Tashar. Um, let's cut that for now. Let's cut that. That might be an add-in later on when things are working. I want Timeless Dragon to work. Insight makes sense. Chemist's Insight and Deep Analysis. Minions Murmurs. Um, let's get rid of that. I think it'd be really nice here, but I think I want more from the graveyard stuff. So Leonin War Leader just going wide. Hero makes sense. Ranger of Eos. Let's see here. One. What creatures would I end up getting? There's not a lot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6? All right, we can cut Ranger. We can cut Ranger. I'm not worried about that. What are these? Where'd that come from? Oh, just all right. For 5, do I want an 0/1 hexproof indestructible, can't block and can't be blocked? Man, if I could block with it, I would be fucking thrilled. All right. Brutal. I still like it for now. Teferi's Master of Time. I think it's cool. Grim Hireling, I think is going to be good. Collective Restraint is going to be good. All right. Broop. Let's go for these 3s. Diviner's 1 makes a ton of sense. Nadir Kraken probably does. Drake Haven going wide. Let's get rid of Spirit Karn. I think the 1 white is what's going to kill it. That's going to be the hard part because I already have a bunch of stuff that I need to pay when things happen. And so cutting down on that is probably going to be beneficial. So Faith of the Devoted makes sense. I want that in there. Makes sense. All right. Let's see here. I think patch up isn't going to be good enough since Ranger of Eos isn't going to be good enough. We'll cut that. Hero of. All right. Let's just. Oh, that's not there. Okay, that makes sense. All right. Whenever you exile 1 or more cards from your hand and or permanents from the battlefield, put that many 1/1 counters on hero. From the battlefield. That's just not going to be effective. All right. As long as Hero of Burchard has 5 or more counters on it, it has flying and is an angel in addition to its other types. So it'd be a 6/6 flying angel. Would I be able to get that off on one go? Maybe, but it's 3 mana. And then if it has 10 or more, it also is a god and is indestructible. I think it's cool. I just don't think I'm going to make it work in here. I think it's too expensive for what's going on. It's 5 and 10. Yeah. Um, Necromancy can hit any graveyard, which is nice. We'll keep that for now. Decaying Soil. If I was a sacrifice outlet deck, like, and I needed this, that could be good. I might not care about this though. We can get rid of that. Victimize makes sense at this point. Sword of Light and Shadow. I'm going to get in some easy hits. Crucible makes some easy discarding. Malevolent Hermit. I like to protect my stuff. Yeah, I like it. Devoted Gaft Keeper enters the battlefield, mill 2 cards. Whenever you cast a spell from your graveyard, tap target creature you don't control. I mean, that's doing a lot for 2 mana. And then can block only creatures with flying. It's a 3/1 flyer. Once I flip it, I still like it. And I still like this one. Sacrifice that token at end of combat. Just being able to play it from the graveyard is nice. I don't have a lot of ETB stuff. Instant speed would be able to protect, but sorcery does not. We'll cut that. Lingering Souls makes sense. First Sphere Gargantuan makes sense. All right. Night, Steven. Thanks for joining. All right. It is 10:30. All right. Timna the Weaver. At the beginning of your this is a good card, right? This is competitive. You may pay X life, where X is the number of opponents that were dealt combat damage this turn. If you do, draw X cards. X life, where X is the number of opponents that were dealt. This is drawing me roughly 3 cards. Yeah. Yeah. I don't have a problem doing that. Mentor of the Meek, I think we cut that. I think we cut that. Nikara, Lair, Scavenger. I'm kind of worried about my creatures dying, but if I had more like spread +1/+1 counters on everything, like playing the original Ajani, putting 1/1 counters on all that kind of stuff, that'd be pretty sweet. But I'm not. And so I don't think that's going to work in here. Ingenious Mastery still kind of works for me. Still kind of works with me for the jump start. Grazilax makes sense. Removal, 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 removal. Going wide. Okay. So these are all kind of the same cards. All right. I like Sword and Feast and Famine. We'll keep those. Equipment. Whenever equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, it connives X, where X is the amount of damage it dealt to amount of damage dealt to that player. Man, it's very much on theme in here. I think I gotta cut it though. Resourceful defense makes sense. Embodiment of agonies makes sense. Boom, boom, boom. I like those. All right. And I think I just need to slim down the 3 spot for creatures. Geist of Saint Traft. Let's get these all out of the way at this point. All right. Where are we? Boop, boop. All right. Geist of Saint Traft, Brimaz, Adeline, Soltari Champion, Soltari Visionary, Yukima, Slippery Scoundrel, Shadow Mage Infiltrator, Meringue, River Prowler, Exotic Pets, and all right. So 6/6 can't be blocked and going to be easy to come out, but it's later. It's after Raffine is out. It's not creating a bunch of creatures. It is big though, but I think we cut DC Kraken in this list. I like exotic pets. Um, I like Visionary just for my lack of removal. That's probably in the deck. I think Adeline gets crazy. Yukima is probably some nice damage, deals X damage to target player, and you gain X life, where X is its power. Can't be blocked. Deals X damage. I think, okay, thinking out loud, I think Slippery Scoundrel doesn't do enough. It's just, hexproof, unblockable, but nothing beyond that. Rang, River Prowler. You may cast Prowler from your graveyard as long as you control a black or green permanent. So that's the kicker, is just being I'd have black permanents and I can easily discard it into my graveyard. We'll keep that for now. Is Shadow Mage Infiltrator, even though it looks fucking sweet, Is that even worth it? Just drawing a card, maybe. Has fear, so it can be blocked by artifact and black creatures. Combat damage to a player, you may draw a card. I don't have any double strike. I don't have. Drawing a card is nice. I'm already drawing a bunch of cards, though, right? All right. How wide am I going? We'll get rid of the champion. I think we get rid of Geist of Saint Draft. I think it can do some stuff, but it's kind of competing in Raffine's territory at 3 mana. It's not really going wide. Like, it doesn't keep on adding up. Like, that stuff kind of just goes. Ramaz, I think, stays because he's a good blocker. And Kima could just be good. I don't know. Let's go with that. Oh, Mr. Poyos. Where's the Razakath reanimate line? I don't have it. I did not do that. So I appreciate you showing up though. And yep, just making creatures going wide, drawing a ton of cards. No combo whatsoever here because I don't play combo, and you know that. So we'll keep that for now. We're kind of thinning down. Let's see. I'm probably gonna go for probably another like 20 minutes and try and keep on cutting it. So I'm gonna seize. Let's. I still like Ominous Seas. I like Shadowstorm Vizier. I like Lazotep Chancellor. Karlov seems still good. Whenever you gain life, I'm not, trying to gain life. Put a 1/1 counter on it. If it has 4 or more 1/1 counters on it, has Flying and Vigilance, which makes solid. As long as it has 10 or more 1/1 counters on it, it has Indestructible. So is it going to get up to 10? Probs not. I mean, and that's all it's doing. It doesn't doing anything extra. So I think we end up cutting it. I bought it specifically for this deck, and now I'm just a jackass. Animate Dead makes sense still. Stitch Together makes sense. So does Priest of Fell Rites. Planar Birth, Bloodsoaked Champion makes sense. I don't know. Can't block. I hate it when it can't block, but it's kind of the shtick with these guys, isn't it? I can cast it 2/1 counters just in case, but it's not unblockable. These aren't unblockable, but they're easy to come back. Reassembling Skeleton. Still kind of like that. We'll see where that goes. Smuggler's Copter. I think we cut that. I don't know why. Just got to cut something. Shadow of the Grave. I like that one still. Ordeal of Thassa. We'll keep it around. I think I like it better than like a spell, if that makes sense. Charter Course still makes sense. Military Intelligence. I'm going wide. I want to draw cards. Dusk Legion Zealot. I think I can cut that. I think there's enough draw in here. It should be fine. We'll do that next. Drawing 2 cards. Dark Confidant. I think we're good there. We don't have a ton of cards that can kill us. Paradise. Oreskos. Talisman. Da 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 da. Stormscape makes sense. Fracture can hit a lot of stuff. Damn. Bitter Blossom. Malicious Pride. Ooh. Malicious Pride can probably do a lot of work. Bitter Blossom. I like it. We're gonna cut it though. It's just slow. And that's all I know. Joe? Thieving Skydiver? Stealing stuff. You know what? We're gonna cut that as well. We'll cut it. I didn't want to, but I think we cut it just for the sake of video. Stealing stuff kind of sucks there. Invisible Stalker is still a standard. Strix, Vault Scourge is nice. Nether Trader. Ledge Shredder is cool. Cool. Bada bing, bada boom. Yep. Proliferate. I think there's enough proliferate stuff going on. All right. -1 counters, but do I even care about that? Yeah, we'll keep that. Currency Converter makes sense. Big Game Hunter makes sense. Sentinel Eyes. Blood Gas. Vengeful Pharaoh. Wayfarer's Bauble. Drum. Prototype. Soul Ring. Land Tax. Swords. Path. Retribution. Animation Module gets me a bunch. Legion's Landing. I'm gonna say that's too slow. I think that's not going wide enough, quick enough. Wanderer, Blade, Seer, Storm Tamer, Signal Pest, Hope, Ozolith, Reconnaissance, Tortured Existence. For the most part, I like all those. All right, let's do what they're doing. What is it got going on? So removal. I think this will probably just get rid of a land for the most part, and then I get a treasure out of it. So that'll be land. That's removal. This is just kind of a pump. That's going to be removal. I don't know what the fuck that is. Bloop. All right, that's ramp. Ramp. We'll call that ramp, I guess. Removal. This is tokens going wide. Protection. And this is just bloop. That'll be for the pump. It's kind of protection. That is a pump card. This is protection. This is reanimation to a degree. All right. We're going to have to do some of this off camera, but proliferate, protections. This is draw a discard card. Nether Trader just comes back. Going wide. This is kind of a going wide. That draws cards. Bloop. All right. Let's see here. Plenty of draw cards. This is there for that backside, so we should just keep an eye on that. Reanimate. I had this going wide. Well, give me a second. Toot. All right. Reanimates. That's removal. Token. Target player. We'll get rid of Yukima. All right. We have put unblockable and just going wide. That's removal. Going wide. Protection. This is doing some stuff. That's just going to be big. Actually, proliferate should probably go in there. And I am definitely used to putting protection in that spot. So we'll do that. That's going to be reanimate. This is kind of a draw discard and search. This is a proliferate. This is untapping removals. Draw. Going wide. Yeah, we just have so many cards that are just going wide, which is problematic. I think we cut that. Devoted Gaff Keeper, whatever. It's fine. Oop. The animation. This is protection. Reanimate. That's just some reach there. Going. Protection. This is ramp. We got plenty of ramp, don't we? Graveyard. This is going wide. That's damage. That's to a player. That's maybe reach. That's kind of draw. That's removal. Going wide. Removal. This is. I don't know. I don't know what the fuck is that. Over there. All right. This is reach. Huge creature. That is removal. Huge creature. Going wide. Draw. And reanimate. Okay. This should help a bunch. I don't know if I'm going to get this done in like 10, 15 minutes, but we'll work on it. All right. So this is kind of like the reach package. I think I'm liking Feast of Sanity more than Kesa. Archfiend of Spite just makes sense. It's aggressive. Yeah, I think we can cut Kesa at this point. Bone Miser's in, so whatever. Reanimation package. That's too many. Storm of Souls makes it. Tortured Existence makes it because it's a discard outlet. Just being able to discard it over and over and over. So we'll do that. You may exile a creature card from your graveyard. If you do, create a token. Let's see here for a second, because I just put that over there. Whenever a non-token creature you control dies, gain 1 life. Then you may draw a card. If you do, discard a card. Sacrifice this. Search your graveyard, hand, and/or library for a card named Godpharaoh's Gift. Put it into the battlefield. If you search your library this way, shuffle it. Activate this ability. Okay. Yeah, I like it just because I can cheat it into play. I want to do that. Writ of Return. I think that's going to be cool. I think I have enough like evasion that it makes it work. I like that. Victimize. Let's get rid of Animate Dead just because it can kind of go anywhere. Same thing with Necromancy. That goes everywhere. 1, 2. I like Sword of Light and Shadow. I like Sacrifice Rights. Return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield only. I think it's slow, but I can get 2. Stitch Together, I think makes sense here just because it's something. And I think these are just going to be better in like a different reanimation style deck. So I have what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with that. This is going to be my stack I got to cut down the most for sure. Let's look at ramp. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, this is drawing. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Let's cut a few from here. Not a lot. Crucible still makes sense. Feast, Planar Birth, Talismans, Oreskos of Explorer. I like Paradise, Dark Confidant. I think those all go in. Tainted Indulgence. Draw 2 cards and discard a card unless there are 5 or more mana values among cards in your graveyard. Instant's kind of nice, but irrelevant, kind of. Whenever you attack with 2 or more creatures, draw a card. Incremental value. I'm going to cut that. Chart of Course makes sense. Ordeal of Thassa. I think we get rid of Ordeal of Thassa. That's 2. I wanted to cut like 4 total. All right, let's bring that back a bit. That's also draw. All right. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Oh, what am I doing? Dum. All right, drawing cards is different than ramping, right? Jesus. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. All right, happy with that. That's actually there. Yep. All right, we're fine with our ramp. We're fine with that. We cut a couple of draw cards because my brain was mixing up. All right, let's bring the draw cards back. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. 25 seems like enough. Let's cut back on some of that. All right. Tainted Indulgence, Ordeal of Thassa, Shadow of the Grave. I think I have enough going on that I don't have to worry about that so much. We can discard that. I think it's sweet. It's super powerful, but it is what it is. 2. Like I said, all Hemrites is so good in here. Let's cut Dark Confidant. I just don't want to lose that kind of life. Maybe other reasons, but Teferi's Ageless Insight goes in. What doesn't work here? I still like First Sphere, Grizzleaxe, Gate to the Afterlife. Works. Those are all cheap. All right. What is not guaranteed? Those can go in. I like Toothy. That's on. Curator's on. Boom. Chemist's Insight. Bloom. Jumpstart. All right. Let's get rid of Chemist's Insight and Ingenious Mastery. Still like that. Teferi, Timna. And I think we get rid of Embrose. I don't think it's going to do what I want. All right. Let's see here. Bloop. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Let's get rid of Ordeal of Thassa. We'll get rid of that. All right. Happy with that. Let's just get rid of that small pile. I don't think I need Sentinel's Eyes. I think that can just kind of go. Diviner's Wand. Boop. Lots of proliferation all over the place. Weird thing is I don't think we need it. I think it's just going to build up 1, maybe 2 creatures. Somebody's removing it. Ozolith and Resourceful Defense, though, that makes a ton of sense to me. Diviner's Wand makes sense. Signal Pest. I think I get rid of the Proliferate. Those three. All right, let's do Protection. Collective Restraint makes sense. I'm going to be aggressive. I might have to get more Pillow Forte anyway. Hermit on the other side is solid. Steel of the Godhead makes a bunch of sense. Let's cut this because I mean it's nice for Raffine, but it's only affecting Raffine, and I need to be able to attack with a lot. Counter target spell that targets you. Protection from red. 1/1. Okay, let's see it. Seer is also protection just for the commander. Probably can cut it. I'm probably just going to regret that a ton. All right. Boots and Greaves. Connaissance makes a ton of sense. Counterspell, counterspell. Sacrifice, counter target, instant or sorcerer spell unless that controller pays X, where X is its power. So I have a couple of the counters on it could be really nice. Hope of Gapur. Tell your next turn target player who was dealt combat damage by Hope this turn can't cast non-creature spells. I like both of those as a go wide strategy. All right. And then All Seeing Arbiter is going to stop people from attacking me. That probably goes in the protection spot. Archfiend makes sense. Constable of Realms is just once per. I got rid of the Proliferate. I think it just kind of goes. Damning Verdict also, like there's so many counters going around. It's how many is it going to actually hit? Right. Let's get rid of that. Let's cut that. Mist of Stagnation. It's going to be brutal. I think that's going to be really good. All right, let's get rid of lame stuff. I like Karlov. Retribution of the Ancients is very flavorful here. Vengeful Pharaoh is nice. Big Game Hunter. Ruthless Sniper is kind of nice. Like it blocks. That's any permanent, any permanent, any permanent. Artifact or enchantment. Enchantment. That's creature, 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 creature. All right. I think we need to have. I like DM just because it can be either or, which is nice. Don't have a lot of enchantment or artifact removal at all. So 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. Just go with a couple of the staples real quick. What is superior? Fracture or destroy? That's exile. Probably fracture over forsake the worldly. Satari Visionary might be worth it, and Big Game Hunter probably isn't. I have a couple of Madness cards. We'll be happy with those. All right, then we got this stack right here, but still like it, 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 like. Is there anything that just kind of stands out? Dorothea, that's early blocker, and then can get aggressive. Lingering Souls, Flying Death Touch, 1/1 counters on it for each different mana cost among non-land cards in your graveyard. That can probably be really big when you play it, but do I really care about that? That's a question. All right. I like it. I like it. I love it. I want some more of it. I tried so hard. Sorry, I'm singing. Sorry. All right. Animation module makes a ton of sense to me. Reassembling skeleton, I like. Because that doesn't have to be like a landfall trigger or anything. Not being able to block kind of blows. All right, let's cut those bad boys. Malicious Pride, Visible Stalker, Vault Scourge. It's just so cheap. It can gain me a ton of life. Nether Trader makes sense. Can't be blocked. Gets +1/+0 if you control 3 or more artifacts. I don't know if I really care about that. It's probably not good enough. Probably not there. Cunning Survivor, though, can get huge. So I'm down with that. Slitherblade makes sense. And that's a free comeback. All right. I'm going to do a countdown. Still plenty of cards left, but we'll see how many are actually there. 2, 3, 48. So we're at 109-ish. Let's see how many we actually cut. Was that I should have counted how many we were starting with, but there was plenty there. Roughly 130 we cut. So we started off with like 240-ish cards. So not too bad. Not too bad. We cut more cards than we currently have. That's kind of all I was looking for. This is at 2 hours. I will cut this off. I appreciate everybody that came out and checked it out. This is Raffine, Scheming Seer. We will have a part 2 next week. You should be able to check that out, and then we'll see where it ends up. And yeah, remember to share, like, subscribe if you enjoyed this. I hope you watched it. You know, if it wasn't live, then in 1.5 speed, because that gets through this a lot quicker. Just ideas, a lot of cards, maybe some ideas for cutting. But either way, it should be a really cool deck. Um, and yeah, thanks for listening. See ya. Bye.